chase for the Season 7 Hersheys Cup Series Championship continues here as we get ready for chase race number 7. Chase race number 8, I should say, of the Hersheys Cup Series. Getting ready here for race number 2 of round 3 as we get close to determining the final 4 here for the playoffs. We're getting set to go racing for 51 laps at Texas Motor Speedway, and if you didn't tune into yesterday's Pizza X Series race, hopefully this race is going to take on the same aspect of aggressiveness and competition that race did, because that was an exciting event, and really looking forward to seeing what these drivers are going to do here today. 8 drivers remain in the hunt to be able to try and be a championship contender when the checker flag waves next week at Rockingham. A couple of drivers made some good strides last week at Lime Rock. Some drivers, though, struggled and are really looking for Texas as a place to be able to bounce back to have themselves in good stead when they do get to the Rock next week. One driver that has himself in a little bit of a situation is Dylan Young. He rolls off from the outside of row 1 today, the highest starting chase driver. He is 8th of the 8 playoff drivers, as you can see on the right side of your screen. Cut line driver right now would be Cole Baker, and Dylan Young comes into this race 22 points behind him. So Dylan Young, not saying he needs a win, but he definitely needs a good finish today to get himself into a good position once we get to Rockingham, North Carolina. Rolling off from the 5th position inside of row 3, that's J Baskinger. He's on the flip side. He had a really good run, a runner-up finish to Chris Dodd last week at Lime Rock. Puts himself 15 points ahead of the cut line coming into this race, trying to make it into the final 4. He's just looking to continue to be consistent here today. Maybe, just maybe, he could head into Rockingham if he gets a good run today, mathematically locked into the final 4. Once Rockingham is over, we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. Let's go down and get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Last week, we saw Chris Dodd go to victory lane for the first time this season. The last driver for the CJ Racing team to find victory lane starts on the pole today, Texas native Chris Dollerton. So let's see if he can get it done and get his first Hersheys Cup Series win in front of his home crowd. We're going to look here towards the rear of the field because there is a driver here that is making his rookie debut. There he is, number 98 out of Tweenix Racing, formerly driven by Seth Pohl, but Griffin Lynn, the Last of Us Late Series Season 2 champion, making his Hersheys Cup Series debut. We'll see him here today at Texas, as well as at Rockingham in the season finale at Homestead. A little bit of a promotion with The Last of Us and Tweenix Racing. Griffin Lynn being the champion of the Last of Us Late Series. We saw him win the championship at Kansas earlier on this week. He now gets a guaranteed ride for the final 3 races here in the Hersheys Cup Series. So we'll see how he does in his rookie debut. So for the first time this year, we've got 5 rookies in the field. It's been 4 rookies up to this point with Lopez, Roush, Osborne, and Holly Davis. The rookie points battle is still going to be a good one too, because you've got Scott Roush, Joshua Osborne separated by 2 points, and there's still 3 races left to go this season. Here we go then. Chris Dollerton looking for his first career win. Dylan Young looking for what would be his second of the season and trying to get himself into the final 4. Getting set at Texas. Green flags in the air. Let's roll. 2 things we need to point out. Number 1, 51 laps of racing. We only ran 34 laps in yesterday's Pizza X Series race, so this race could come down to fuel strategy. I don't think they can make it the full 51 laps on what they have in the tank. And secondly, remember, it's a win-and-you're-in situation. If any of our 8 playoff contenders win here today, they have an automatic, guaranteed, locked-up spot in the final 4 at Homestead, Miami. Look at them back there with K Shearer, J Baskinger, a couple of playoff drivers, 3 wide with J Bryant, as D Poteet is going to lead the first lap of the day here at Texas. Here comes his buddy Dylan Young, though. Dylan Young wants the bonus point for leading the lap. He's going to go to the inside and clear off of 2. And I heard some scraping back there. I think we might have had a wreck. Waiting to see if the lights are on. They are indeed. Caution is out for the first time today here at Texas. Now, I do know that we had, I think it was 2 cautions in yesterday's Pizza X Series race. Both cautions were because they went 4 wide out of turn number 2. We'll have to see if that was the case here for our first yellow in the Hersheys Cup Series event. But Dylan Young did lead that lap. He'll lead us here under caution. So a driver that needed a good run today out in front showing the way. And there you see the skid marks on the back straightaway up into the entrance of turn number 3. And let's see if any of our playoff drivers were involved in this one, because a couple of drivers that struggled last week at Lime Rock, like McCrury and Shelton, if they were involved, this could spell the end for them, and they may need to be in a must-win situation heading to Rockingham. Let's look towards the tail end of the field, see who was involved. There's the 97 of R Reynolds. Don't really see a lot of damage on his machine. Dallas McIntosh, Daniel Gilbert, Trent Dunham back here. Don't really see any cars with a lot of damage. There's Anthony McCurry back here in 34th. Shelton there. Oh, it was last week's winner! Chris Dodd. It looks like that car may have gone up and over. There's a lot of roof damage on that machine. So 1 week after taking the checkered flag, he finds himself as the first car involved in a wreck here at Texas. And to be honest, it looks like he's the only one really with any visible damage. So as Dylan Young paces under our first caution of the day, these drivers will not be coming to pit road. They won't be coming to pit road until probably around lap 20. Then they'll be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. So this is way too early a caution. Let's see what happened to last week's winner and former champion, Chris Dodd. And this is indeed what happened off turn 2, 4 wide. That's Kyle Keith up top, Holly Davis down below him. She's going to get into Chris Dodd, send him down into RJ Reynolds. Reynolds going to hit the wall there, and yep, just the right angle in the 8 of Chris Dodd, up and over, flipping and barrel rolling down the back straightaway. My goodness. That is a scary wreck here at Texas. These drivers going almost 200 miles per hour. It's a very fast mile and a half, and Chris Dodd, thank goodness that car came back to rest on all 4 wheels, but that is a wild, wild ride. Chris Dodd, who has been having such a consistent year, he headed into Lime Rock, highest driver in the point standings that hadn't made it into the playoffs. And then, of course, got that win last week, but little bump in the road here for that consistent season for the driver, the number 8, as he finds himself up and over on his lid, barrel rolling down the back straightaway. RJ Reynolds involved as well, and that brings out the caution for the first time here today at Texas. Well, green flag should be coming out in 2 laps. I think we'll get the 1 to green signal this next time by. Dylan Young out in front. Dylan Young trying to make into the Final Four for the second time in 3 seasons. First time he ever made the Final Four to compete for the championship was back in Season 5. It's the only time he was in the hunt for the championship once we got to the season finale. Behind him, you got Chris Dollerton there in the 83, still looking for his first win. Started on the pole. Dylan Poteet. I mean, we talk about Chris Dodd and the consistent season that he's been having. Well, Dylan Poteet comes into this race 18th in points. That's the second highest you can be and not be in the playoffs. He's still chasing his first win. Cody Llamas, the defending Pizza Hut X-Series champ, he's up there in 4th. And Dougie Shears right now completes top 5. Dylan Young right now the only chaser in the top 5. You got to, whoops, hit the wrong button. You got to go back to 6th before you find K Shearer. He's restarting inside the top 10. And I believe he and Dylan Young are the only 2 inside the top 10. Outside the top 10 in 12th, that's where you find J Baskinger. Kyle Mathews not too far back there in 15th. 16th, Cole Baker, who comes into this race in that 4th position, that cut line position in the points. Got to go quite a ways back before you find Keith Batson, who had the good run at Lime Rock last week. He is currently scored in 24th. Drop further back, there's where you find Jessica Shelton behind debuting Griffin Lynn. She's in 31st, needs a much better run than that as she currently comes into this race behind the cut line. Same for Anthony McCrury, 5th in points. He's currently scored in 34th place, and that is where your 8 playoff drivers are currently running for this restart. So Dylan Young would love to be able to win here, because that means he'd head into Rockingham, North Carolina, knowing he is going to be one of the 4 representatives for the championship. Chris Dodd last week was only the second non-playoff driver to win a playoff race this year. J Gonzales was the first at Indianapolis. As the green flag back in the air here on lap number 7. We had run 8 chase races. Well, actually, I should say 7 chase races, this being the 8th. 7 chase races, and 5 of those races were won by playoff drivers. J Baskinger at Las Vegas. Who were the others? K Shearer at Talladega. Keith Batson at Auto Club. Johnny Gardner at Bristol Dirt. And then Keith Batson for a second time at Boston. Dylan Young, D Poteet. It's the Dilly Dilly show out front. The Ford and the Chevrolet, 3 wide behind him. K Shearer trying to make up ground, puts his teammate Chris Dollerton up to the top side. The bright yellow Lowe's Chevrolet Camaro of C Llamas in the middle. Ooh boy, that was tight off of turn 4. J Shears, J Gardner now getting into the mix of this battle as well. Saw that Chris Dodd got involved in that wreck. He is out of the race, the only car out in 42nd. The other 3 representatives for CJ Racing, though, they're all up here right now inside of the top 10. K Shearer was scored last time by in 3rd, Dollerton in 4th, and T Walch, who had that great run last week at Lime Rock, he's now up in the top 10 as well in the 15. He may have actually just faded out of the top 10 because he just got freight trained. A couple of teammates back here, J Arndt, who got eliminated from the playoffs back in round 1. And right behind him, Benny Watson, 4-time winner last year, still looking for his first win this season. A couple of other teammates here as well. J Gardner, who got eliminated from the playoffs after round 2, and his teammate Z Fitzwater. All fighting for spots up inside of the top 10 as Dylan Young continues to pace the field. About 0.4 of a second separation back to D Poteet, who now is about to get reeled in for that spot by the Michael Norman Motorsports entry of J Shears. Side by side between teammates for the 4th position. Give it to Chris Dollerton. K Shearer going to drop back. Shearer came into this race a total of 16 points behind the cut line of 4th in the standings, so just looking for a consistent run here. Right now he's having one. This battle for 2nd continues to be about 0.4 behind the race leader Dylan Young. And we had that one caution, so these drivers might have been able to save a little bit of fuel under that yellow. They might be able to make it a little bit further on fuel now before having to make that green flag pit stop. So I would say we're going to probably see these drivers, if not lap 20, maybe at the latest somewhere around lap 25. They can go as far as about lap 30 if they want to run it dry, but I can see some of these drivers possibly short pitting. Dollerton back up to 2nd. Now he sets his sights on trying to run back down the 2 of Dylan Young, who got the race lead for him at the very start of this race, but now he's got to deal with J Shears, who's going to make a move to the inside. K Shearer fading back just a little bit. He's now back in the 7th position. Just riding for the moment. He and Dylan Young still the only 2 chasers inside of the top 10. You got to go back to find Cole Baker in 15th. He's the 3rd highest running chaser. One driver that kind of has faded back here is J Baskinger. I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is, along with K Batson and K Mathews. They're up all inside of the top 20 at this point in time, I think. K Batson last time by scored in 16th. That's where he still is. K Mathews crossed the line 19th, and Baskinger in 20th. For Baskinger and Batson, they both had good runs at Lime Rock. They just got to basically finish up inside the top 15, and they might have themselves in a good position to move into the Final 4 after Rockingham. K Mathews finished, I think it was 15th last week at Lime Rock. Decent outing for him, but he's only 3 points ahead of the cut line, which right now is held by Cole Baker. Right now, Baker is running higher than he is on the racetrack. So K Mathews, a little bit of work to do here at Texas. Back here, though, I'd be worried about some of these drivers like Jessica Shelton. There she is in the 0-2, currently scored in 36th place. This is not where she needs to be running right now. And also Anthony McCrury, who has faded way back. He's back in 40th position. The Season 1 champion might find himself in almost a must-win situation heading into Rockingham. Same for Shelton. Shelton trying to pick up a spot there. Ooh, almost got into the back of Shane Lake. Last thing you want to do is head into a race, an elimination race, in a must-win situation, because you got a 1 in 42 odds of that happening. Not very good of a chance. Dollerton's got a strong car. He's been able to fight his way up to 2nd, but he hasn't been able to close up the distance between himself and the race leader Dylan Young. So he may have to rely on pit strategy to maybe try and get that position from the 2 car. Let's see their lap times, see what the difference is between them. They might be running just about the same lap times. Dylan Young this time by hits the line 27.857. Dollerton with an 8.20. He was actually a little bit faster. Of course, he's in the draft of the two. As battle is on for third, Dougie Shears and J Arndt. Eddie Watson right there in that fifth position. Poteet, Shearer still there, and you mentioned that rookie points battle that's going on between Joshua Osborne and Scott Roush. Well, Osborne last week lost a point to Scott Roush. This week looks like he might make that up. Right now he is the highest running rookie in the 8th position. Whoa! Look out! Yikes! Tim Walsh nearly giving Joshua Osborne a little trip off his front bumper. That was a close call. Nice save on the part of the 27, and luckily we didn't have a wreck there. But right now, Osborne, in order to be tied with Scott Roush for the rookie points lead, he needs 2 more rookies to be running between him and the 60. Well, that's not the case, I don't think. Well, there's one, Jordan Lopez, and then there's Roush. So right now, Osborne has made up 1 point, so yeah, I think right now they would be tied. So he needs either Griffin Lynn or Holly Davis to get up there past the 60, and then Osborne would take the rookie points lead over. Ooh, Keith Batson may have brushed the wall off turn 4 there. Let's see where Griffin Lynn's running. 98 in his debut. There he is, getting a taste of Hersheys Cup Series action. Last time by scored in the 31st position. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get his feet wet here. He's only run 10 races in the Last of Us Light Series and has not been in races as competitive as the Hersheys Cup Series. What a place to make your debut at, and you can see no love for the rookie. They're all leaving him up there on the top side. Wow, that's congested coming off of turn 4. Daniel Gilbert might have gotten the wall a little bit there. Shelton starting to make her way at least forward. She's up to 30th. Now trying to run down Levi McIntire. We got a trouble! J Cittadino around off the nose of K Mathews. Caution is out. He saves it. He brings it back on track. Everybody's going to give him room. Looks like a solo car spin for the 72 of J Cittadino, former playoff contender. That was off the nose of K Mathews, and this just, I think, threw all of the fuel strategy out the window, because I think they can come to pit road now, and they will be good to go on fuel the rest of the way. So whatever strategy Chris Dollerton might have been having against the 2 of Dylan Young, that's out the window. So this might be the money stop. This is the only pit stop I think they're going to have to make. So let's see if Dylan Young can get it done on pit road, or at least his team can. Dollerton comes in 2nd, Watson 3rd, Shears 4th, J Arndt 5th. Dylan Young going to have the 2nd pit stall. Dollerton will have the 1st based off of their qualifying results. So we'll see if that 1st pit stall might help Chris Dollerton. I would be surprised if anybody does less than 4 tires here. This track, with the high speeds that they run, they definitely use up a lot of tire rubber, and we went into a nice long green flag run there. Apologize for the dogs barking. And Dollerton, the 1st pit stall does work, and he's just going to barely beat out Benny Watson. Dylan Young, who led a good portion of the first half of this race, is going to come out in 3rd. That 1st pit stall pays dividends, and Chris Dollerton is going to be the race leader when we go back green. Let's go and take a look and see what happened. Playoff contender K Mathews got a little piece of the wreck, along with J Cittadino, who spun. Let's see what brought out our 2nd yellow of the day at Texas Motor Speedway. Alright, this was going into turn 1. Let's see what set up this wreck involving the 72 of J Cittadino. We're watching the 09 of K Mathews here, and Cittadino got a big run through the center of the corner on Joseph Srigley. Had to lift, and as he tries squeezing back up in front of the 09, yeah, Mathews has a big run coming out of turn 2. Cittadino thought he was clear, and Mathews didn't lift, gets him in the right rear quarter panel, spins him around. Mathews getting some damage there on the right side of his machine. And look at Cittadino. What a nice job of saving that race car and avoiding going down to that inside safer barrier. Also a nice avoidance on the part of Kyle Keith not to continue the spin for the 72. So we kind of got away with one here at Texas. Long green flag run, just a little bit of a driver error, thinking he was clear and he wasn't, but I'm going to be questioning where Kyle Mathews is going to be lined up for the restart, because they might have had to do a little bit of repair work on the right side of his machine after he got up into the safer barrier off turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. J Cittadino spinning around, brings out our second yellow flag, sets us up for the restart. Lights are out on the pace car, 1 lap to green, so we'll go back green on lap 28 of 51. That should give us a total of 24 laps to go. We are well within the fuel window. These drivers will not have to come to pit road again during this race. Working our second caution, but only one driver out of the race, C Dodd, who went flipping down the back straightaway under our first yellow flag. So 41 cars still running and all 41 still on the lead lap. C Dollerton, with that first pit stall, got the race lead after the pit stops. He is going to restart over Benny Watson. Dylan Young, who had the strongest car here in the first half of the race, lines up now in traffic in third. Joshua Osborne, highest running rookie, in fourth, and J Shears right now completes your top 5. Then it's Tim Walsh, K Shearer, J Arndt, Z Fitzwater, and Dylan Poteet, your top 10. Only 2 of your chasers inside the top 10 right now, Young in third and Shearer in 7th. Where are the rest of them lining up? You got to go down quite a ways before you find K Batson. He's going to be restarting in 19th place. Cole Baker back in 21st. J Baskinger is back in 28th. Shelton in 30th. And then further on down is where you find Kyle Mathews. They did have to spend a little bit extra time on pit road. He restarts in 40th. And Anthony McCrury right now in the 41st position as the green flag set to come back out here at Texas. Dollerton going to get away by about a car length and a half over Benny Watson as he was ready for that green flag. Benny Watson going to break free from a battle for third. Osborne going to make the pass on Dylan Young. Dylan Young starting to fade. K Shearer now going to go for third position as we have a battle for the lead. Benny Watson to the inside of C Dollerton. Here comes K Shearer in the 80 with a big run. This restart. All these drivers with fresh tires trying to get as much as they can before the tires start to go away. The grip starts to go away. Makes it even harder to be able to make passes once the tires heat up. Well, K Shearer tried to take second. Dollerton was too strong on the high side out of turn 2. He's going to hang on to the spot. Caution's out again. Third time today we're under yellow. And Benny Watson will lead us under this caution flag. Benny Watson, 4-time winner last year. It was around this point of the season that he won back-to-back races, winning at, was it Lime Rock? And I'm not able to recollect where the racetrack was after that he won at. But at this point in the season, he's still looking for his first win of this year. Now let's see who was involved in this caution. Oh, our Indianapolis race winner, Brandon Gonzales. As well as our Thornton winner, Dallas McIntosh. 2-time winner, Levi McIntire, also with damage. And it looked like there was some front-end damage. Oh, I thought there was on Griffin Lynn. I was going to say, welcome to the Hersheys Cup Series, rookie. Looks like 3 drivers at least involved in this one. All 3 with pretty extensive damage, and all 3 former winners from this season. One of them, a former playoff driver. So as Benny Watson leads us under our third yellow flag, we're going to have less than 20 to go when we go back green. Let's take a look at a replay. Well, you kind of expected it on a restart here. 4 wide off turn 2. You see Levi McIntire make the move to the inside of Shane Lake, causing the 4 wide formation. Cole Baker, playoff contender, way up on the top side. Let's see where the contact begins. Probably the 2 middle cars there, Lake and McIntire. A little help from Baker as well. McIntire sent down into Dallas McIntosh. And both cars going to hit that inside safer barrier. Not quite the angle that C Dodd ended up hitting it with R Reynolds, so McIntire's car didn't flip upside down. And let's see how the 23 gets involved here. He doesn't. So I don't know why Brandon Gonzales had damage and was off the pace. Let's see if something happens further up here. Did Gonzales get through all this? Where's the 23 at? Oh, he's on pit road. Now, why is he on pit lane? Did he get involved in an earlier incident or something? Or did he just come to pit lane for a pit stop? Oh, yeah, he just came to pit road. So, I don't know what was up with that. Looks like he's got some damage on the left front. But yeah, he just peels off onto pit road after we had gone back green to make a pit stop. So that's going to have him off the lead lap for sure. And then, of course, we had the incident with Levi McIntyre and Dallas McIntosh. That's what actually brought out the caution. Waiting on the 1 to green signal, which we should get this time. We'll be restarting with less than 20 laps to go. If my calculations are correct, we would actually go back green with 13 laps remaining. Sorry, 18 laps remaining. Benny Watson, the race leader, and I went back to look and see what those back-to-back wins were he had around this point of the season. And it was Lime Rock, and then he won the following week at the Super Speedway of Madrid. Those were his 3rd and 4th wins last year. Still chasing his first win this season. Chris Dollerton, chasing first win of his career, lines up second. K Shearer, he is the only playoff driver right now running in the top 10, as he is going to restart in 3rd. 4th place is Joshua Osborne. 5th place, D Poteet. J Arndt in 6th. How about J McCloud popping up here into the top 10 now? Good run for 2 of the Tweenix Racing drivers as he restarts 7th. 8th is going to be Z Fitzwater. Cody Smart up there in 9th, and T Walch is going to complete the top 10. Biggest loser on that last restart, Dylan Young, who restarted in 3rd. He dropped all the way back to 15th, where he'll be restarting. Keith Batson right behind him in 16th place. And the rest of your playoff contenders are going to be restarting 26th for Cole Baker. Jessica Shelton back in 30th. J Baskinger in 32nd. Kyle Mathews in 35th. And Anthony McCrury in 38th. Still only 1 driver out of the race, that being Chris Dodd. 41 drivers still running, 40 of them on the lead lap. You can see Brandon Gonzales, who made that pit stop under that last little green flag run, trapped 1 lap down. So they will have to deal with lap traffic on this restart. We'll have to see how up to speed that 23 is once the green flag waves here in the restart zone. Green flag's in the air. Gonzales going to hang tough, at least for the moment, with Benny Watson, so that car might be a factor here heading into turn number 1. And some drivers that came into this race and needed a good run, as K Shearer trying to use the lap machine to his benefit, and it will work. He'll go to the lead. Jessica Shelton and Anthony McCrury came into this race way back behind the cut line, needed good outings, and right now, neither of them having that. They could find themselves in a very perilous position when they get to Rockingham, as Joshua Osborne, trying to get his 2nd career victory, he's going to go to the race lead. Look at Brandon Gonzales there in that 23. For a brief moment, he was on the tail end of the lead lap ahead of the race leaders. Now he gets drifted back in this group and is still trapped a lap down. Now, we said that 1 driver fell way back, and that was Dylan Young. His teammate, though, is making some strides. J Bryant in the 22, along with the 12 of Cody Smart. They're both making their way up into the top 10. And also moving his way up towards the front, that's the 39 of Keith Batson. Had that great run last week at Lime Rock. Finished, I think it was 8th place. Nope, 9th place, rather. And as you can see on the right side of your screen, comes in with a little bit of a buffer towards 4th in the standings. Now trying to get up into the top 10, get his 2nd straight top 10 finish. Had 2 wins in the 2nd round of the playoffs to make it here into the 3rd round. Got teammates battling here. That is for 5th. T Walch and Chris Dollerton. JT Bryant says, "You guys battle, I'm going to pass you both." The 22 car is flying up here towards the front of the field. As Osborne continues to lead, now a battle between K Shearer and Benny Watson. Ooh, this is close off of turn 4. And by close, I mean that right front to the left rear. Joshua Osborne, 1 career win. That was back in, I think it was season 2, if I recall correctly, at Madrid, or not Madrid, Yas Marina Circuit, as a non-charter driver. Now looking to get his 2nd career victory, as he is, as we mentioned, in that tooth and nail battle with Scott Roush for the rookie points lead. Benny Watson just moved by K Shearer for 2nd place. He's trying to get back up there. He kind of got screwed out of the race lead on that restart, as he was kicked up to the high side by the then lap machine and still lap machine Brandon Gonzales. That allowed K Shearer to get by for the race lead. JT Bryant, though, he may have the fastest car on the track right now as he's up to third place. A couple other drivers popping up here towards the front. How about, whoa! Whoa, 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 that was close there between Bryant and Watson. But how about Sean Gallighan, the 44, Daniel Voyles, the 26, who a few weeks ago finished runner-up, best finish of the season for him at Boston to Keith Batson. Sean Gallighan also best finish of the season, a second place run as he gets spun off the nose of Daniel Voyles. He's going to come back up into traffic. He gets Walsh, he gets Miles. Poteet's involved as Miles goes up and over. Big wreck on the front straightaway. Caution's out for the fourth time today, nearing 10 laps to go. Gallighan gets turned off the nose of Daniel Voyles. And we have carnage on the front stretch. Osborne's going to lead him down here to the yellow flag. And oh my goodness, and oh boy. Oh, look out. Whoa, 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 whoa. Look out. Reynolds, McIntosh, all right in the way. Griffin Lynn, the rookie, involved, and I think he might have just gotten hit by the leader, Joshua Osborne. Osborne, I think, has got damage. K Mathews, playoff contender, all torn up on the front of the Kings Island Camaro. Two more playoff contenders involved. Baker came in the cutoff line. Dylan Young, also Jessica Shelton. That's 4 of our 8 playoff drivers with damage. Make it 5 as Anthony McCrury was involved. Dunham's out of the race. Looking at Jordan Anderson, he was involved. McIntire, looks like he flipped. Fitzwater, J Arndt, Poteet. Another playoff contender. Last week's runner-up, J Baskinger, C Llamas. That's 6 of our playoff drivers involved in this wreck. Look at Watson, he's got damage now on the right side of his machine. I think he might have sideswiped one of the machines that was trying to leave the scene of the accident. Osborne, we know, has got front-end damage. Gallighan running 4th, he's got damage. Oh my goodness gracious. This race just took an unexpected turn with a wreck on the front straightaway, one of the most dangerous places to have a wreck because that car is going to come right back up into traffic and there's very little opportunity to be able to get through a wreck when the track is so congested the way it usually is on these crooked front straightaways. Oh boy. Well, the caution is out. Pit road, I believe, is now going to be open. We know the 27's got damage, the 24's got damage, the 22's got damage, the 44's got damage. But will they come to pit road when we will get this restart with less than 10 to go? Doesn't look like they're going to. They're going to risk it for the biscuit and stay out. Even Gallighan staying out with all the damage on that 44 car. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. 3/4 of our playoff drivers involved in the wreck. Let's see what happened here. 4th caution of the day at Texas. We basically saw it live as we were watching this battle for what at the time was the 3rd position. Gallighan in the middle. Daniel Voyles looked like he got tight on the bottom coming off turn 4. Gets into the left rear quarter panel of Gallighan. And in that grass, there's just no way that that car is going to slow down. Slides back up the track. Gets Tim Walsh. I think K Shearer just got through. I think he did, yeah. Benjamin Miles involved there in the 25. Nowhere to go. Look at C Dollerton. Nice avoidance by the 83. Cody Smart gets through. Daniel Gilbert gets through. Oh, Cody got a little bit of a contact there. There's the shot from Dylan Poteet into Benjamin Miles. And then there's just nobody able to slow down. They all just start piling in back there. There's Lopez, McCloud, J Arndt, J Gardner. Look at Cody Llamas get jacked up in the air from, I think that was Zachary Fitzwater. Then he gets a shot from K Mathews. That sends the 48 over on his roof. Look at Fitzwater up in the air. Look at this. Just like a junkyard. Oh my goodness, Baskinger got clobbered by Cole Baker. There's Anthony McCrury. There's Dylan Young up in the air. Griffin Lynn came to a stop, got run into the back of by, I think that was R.J. Reynolds. Emmanuel Hartnett got damaged as he slithers his way by on the inside. There's Trent Dunham involved. McIntire back there. I can't tell who that is behind McIntire. Is that Baskinger? No, it's not Baskinger. Who is that? Oh, that's Jordan Anderson, the 89. And just look at the carnage. Look at the damage. And as I said, the drivers that were involved for playoff contenders that I saw visibly involved in that one included Anthony McCrury, Jessica Shelton, J Baskinger, K Mathews, Cole Baker, and Dylan Young, and quite possibly, I don't know for absolute certain, but the 39 of K Batson might have gotten a little bit of damage as well on the front of his Ford. If that's the case, then only one driver got through that wreck with no damage for our playoff contenders, and that was the 80 of K Shearer. Garage area is going to fill up after this wreck. Big wreck on the front straightaway, and a majority of our playoff contenders involved in this one. Well, this is going to be an interesting restart. Our top four all have damage. Osborne's got front end damage. Watson and Bryant have right side damage. Sean Gallighan's car looks like it should be on the end of a tow hook, as he's got left, right, rear, and front end damage. And then the next car, K Shearer, might be the one that this race falls into the lap of, as we're getting ready to go back green with 6 laps to go. K Shearer restarts 5th, K Batson in 10th. Those are the only two that look like they're going to be playoff contenders with a good outing here today. As you can see right there, Watson slow and off the pace. That damage affecting him as Osborne gets away for the moment. Bryant trying to take second. Let's find out where the rest of the playoff contenders are, if any of them still were able to continue this race. And Dylan Young restarts in 21st, and J Baskinger 2 laps down 25th. All the rest of the playoff contenders are out as Walch, Miles, McCloud, Daniel Gilbert, J Arndt, McIntosh, Baker, Mathews, Fitzwater, Cody Llamas, Trent Dunham, Levi McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, Anthony McCrury, R Reynolds, and Brandon Gonzales all out of the race. And for Shelton and McCrury being 38th and 39th, I think that might be a must-win situation for both those drivers heading into next week's race at Rockingham, North Carolina. Battle for the lead. JT Bryant, damaged race car, to the inside of Joshua Osborne's damaged race car. And Bryant will clear for the spot. Here comes Chris Dollerton, though. That car is not damaged. He's up to speed. He might be the one that could get up here, take this win, as Voyles and J Srigley leaving pit road. Let's see if the 83's got any time to run down these two. Last time by, he was about 1 3/10 off. But these two cars are damaged goods and might be a little off the pace, about 190 going into the corners as they're working together, drafting with each other. If Osborne makes a move on Bryant, that's going to allow Chris Dollerton to close back in again. This time he lost a 10th. As Osborne going to look to the inside. These two going to go side by side again. That's going to open the door for Chris Dollerton to maybe try and run them down. Osborne couldn't quite get alongside. He's going to have to rewind the band and try again. Look at these two cars. These two cars look like they've been a demolition derby. Right side damage on the 22, front end damage on the 27 as 2 laps remain here at Texas. Hometown hero Chris Dollerton hopes they race it up here so he can maybe close in, make it a 3-horse fight for the win. Then he got a battle back here for 4th. How is Sean Gallighan still up in the top 10? I don't know. Benny Watson there in 4th, and here comes Kyle Keith in the 29 trying to get by both of them. Scott Roush trying to do the same. Congested from 4th on back as we've got the white flag displayed. 1 more lap to go for JT Bryant. Is Osborne close enough to make a move into turn 1? He might try it. Oh, trying to get low. He checks up a little bit. Bryant moves up a little bit high. Osborne is still there. Can he get him down here into 3 and 4? Osborne trying to close the distance. A little daylight between the 22 and the 27 as off turn 4 for the final time. The sweep's going to happen for Young Motorsports. JT Bryant, first win of the season, takes place here today at Texas Motor Speedway. McIntyre with 2 wins. Dylan Young with a win. Cody Smart with a win. And now JT Bryant, the 4th and final driver out of the Young Motorsports stables, will get a victory here in Season 7, taking the checkered flag at Texas. Damaged race car and all. Osborne 2nd. Dollerton's going to get 3rd. Scott Roush makes it still a close points battle for the rookie points lead. Osborne gained a point on him, but now it's 1 point separation heading into Rockingham with Roush ahead of Osborne for that rookie points battle. Kyle Keith 5th. 6th place Charles Sandfer. Dougie Shears 7th. Lake in 8th. Batson 9th. And 10th place, Benny Watson. Keith Batson, the only playoff contender in the closing stages to be running in the top 10 at the finish of this race. So Keith Batson, who came into this race with that little bit of a buffer of 15 points between himself and the cut line, he could very well be one of the drivers heading into Rockingham that could very well, with even just a top 25 finish, be one of the drivers representing in the Final Four. There's no doubt it's been a career year for him. First multi-win season, winning 2 races in 3 weeks. And right now, up inside of the Elite 8 in his first appearance in the chase for the championship. How about some of these other drivers, though, we hadn't talked about today? We mentioned Kyle Keith there in 5th. How about Charles Sandfer? We never talked about the 0-3. He's going to finish the day out in 6th. Shears was up in the top 10 most of the day there, finishing 7th. Shane Lake, didn't really talk much about him. He finishes in 8th place. Keith Batson in 9th. And Benny Watson, damaged car and all. Great job bringing that home in the 10th position. J Cittadino, we saw him get spun by K Mathews for, I think it was our second caution. He battled back for 11th. S Gallighan, that car probably should have been in the garage area. Somehow, it was a 12th place finisher. E Hartnett brings it home in 13th. J Gardner 14th. And Dylan Young, ooh, boy. Poor performance last week at Lime Rock. This week, not great, but better than some of the other competitors. 15th. We'll have to see where this puts him near the cut line heading into Rockingham. How about Griffin Lynn? 3rd highest finishing rookie today in his debut. 16th. Not a bad run for him. And K Shearer, he was up in the top 10 most of the day. He faded back to 17th. So we'll have to see where this situates him, as he was behind the cut line coming into this race. We'll have to see where 17th positions him with the rest of the competition once we get to next week's race. As you look on down through the rest of the finisher results, J Baskinger finishes out the day in 25th. He came in with that 17-point buffer back to the cut line of 4th. So we'll have to see if this helps him or hurts him. And then the rest of our other championship competitors finished out of the race, and most of them finished way down in the finishing results as well. Baker came in the cut line driver, 30 seconds where he finishes. K Mathews came into this race 3 points ahead of the cut line. He finishes 33rd. At Jessica Shelton, Anthony McCrury, 38th and 39th. Not the performance either of them needed after both of them struggled last week at Lime Rock. We're going to have to see if those drivers might possibly be in must-win situations heading into next week at Rockingham, North Carolina. But that's going to do it here today from Texas. Boy, that last caution really played a factor into the outcome of this race for sure. And J Bryant completes the sweep for the Blue Oval Young Motorsports team with his first win of the season. Matter of fact, I believe it's J Bryant's first win since Season 3, so a long time coming for the 22 team. But he's going to take the checkered flag here today. He becomes the 3rd non-playoff driver to win a playoff race, and we've definitely got a very interesting situation heading into Rockingham, North Carolina. Is Keith Batson safe to make it into the Final Four? And where is everybody else going to be situated in terms of that 4th position in the standings cut line next week at Rockingham? Is going to be an absolute wild one. You're not going to want to miss it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give me a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results. These are your rookie point standings. Those are close. And these are your overall point standings, as well as your updated playoff points heading next week. Our final elimination race to determine the Final Four to compete for this championship. Will it be Baskinger, Batson, Mathews, Baker, McCrury, Shelton, Shearer, or Young represented in the Final Four? We're going to have to wait and see. All 3 of our main series, Trucks, Pizza Hut X Series, Hersheys Cup Series, next week at The Rock, before we determine the Final Four at our season finale for those 3 series at Homestead Miami Speedway. The chase for the championship is drawing to a close. The season's drawing to a close, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. So long from Texas.